video on YouTube. So I've only now started it, I think.
Oh, that says live up here.
It's I only just turned that on.
It says it started here 22 minutes ago. Me and Jim shoot the sheep. Shoot the sheep.
Yeah, that's my that was my description. My description in the box, the description box. Okay, but it's video on YouTube. I've only now started it, I think.
Okay. Well, that's live up here.
So it should be going now.
Yeah, I will be able to see if anybody.
It gets confusing if you actually open
YouTube is what? Well, so they started here 22 minutes ago. Jim shoot the sheep.
Yeah, if you actually open the YouTube window, it gets really confusing, so I keep it closed. My description of the.
I'm getting a repeat here.
Box, the description box. Yeah, what you got to do is you got to close the YouTube window. Only now started.
Yeah, I'm gonna close it.
Because otherwise, the audio gets repeated twice.
Repeating all. Yeah, it was repeating like crazy.
I guess it's the delay.
Right rid of that thing. Yeah, some kind of delay there.
Yeah, it's almost.
I'm trying to watch myself, seconds. I guess.
Yeah, trying to see your handsome face. I put this.
YouTube is worldwide.
I put this unicorn symbol up because it just makes my broadcast go more smoothly. But I'll switch to my desktop if there's something important to show the audience.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that when you have your face on there, it kind of slows down the transmission.
Yeah, so
maybe too much bandwidth or something. Get choppy.
Yeah, I slowed down my bandwidth. So people are asking, what did I talk? What did we talk about? We already had a whole conversation.
I didn't even hear it. Yeah. You need if they could go in there and then go back in time. They could, you know, Lee said they can't do that though. Could go to the beginning of this thing, click the beginning, and hear our whole conversation, and then they could find out what's going on.
I believe at the end our entire conversation will be recorded, but I don't know if it's the part that wasn't broadcast, if it will be recorded or not.
Well, when we go off, I guess I could go to YouTube and see how much is there, if it's still there or whatever.
Well, you could see, like what I'm going to do is I'll just check in the YouTube video, but then I'll close the window just to see if there's any comments to respond to. Because the actual comment is on the YouTube page, unless there's a way to see it in our control room. I've got something called the control room, but I don't see it up there. Just checking.
Adjust band. Here's the thing on the top. It says adjust bandwidth usage.
Yeah, I actually, for mine, because I know I'm at the library, and I know around this time the signal gets a little weak. So I actually lowered my bandwidth usage a little, but if you have a good, strong signal, you won't need to do that.
It's coming in good now.
Okay. You can hear me clear?
Yes, very clear.
Good. Okay, so what's our next topic? Pleb has said in Channel 39, Obama is an atheist. So do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, because I don't think he is.
Okay, great, because I do think he is.
Well, he may be, but they always show him going to church a lot of times. Have you ever seen? I've seen him in the news walking out of a church. But that doesn't mean he believes. I guess he can pretend to be a Christian. I guess.
I think Obama's an atheist, and you don't. So this would be a great point for us to debate.
Yeah. If he was an atheist, why would he be going into churches and stuff?
Well, because in America, you have to convince people that you believe in God. If you're going to be a politician. So the reason he goes to church is to convince people that he's a Christian.
Why can't atheists be politicians in the USA?
No, I would argue they can't. I would argue they have a hard time.
Why?
Some
You're
states,
discriminating against.
atheists.
There's a law that says you cannot discriminate on sexual orientation, religion, and other things. But religion is one of them that you cannot discriminate on. Or the lack thereof. I don't know. Maybe you can discriminate for a lack of religion.
Well,
That doesn't seem very fair.
it's not fair in the sense that well, an atheist gets pretty much in politics. That will be used against them to help them not win elections, right? It will be used politically against them. And also, some states actually have a law against it,
Right.
believe it or not.
That's what I understand. Yeah, if I was a politician, I really would want to make a big deal out of my atheism because we would lose. Nobody would vote. A lot of people would not vote. You'd only get the atheist vote, which is pretty low, I guess.
Okay, so I love it when in Channel 39. I don't know if you noticed this. I try not to troll too much anymore, but I kind of sometimes a little bit. You may have noticed that. But when Republicans say Obama is a Muslim, I love that because then I can say no, he's an atheist.
Oh, I see. And if he's an atheist, there's no way you could be a Muslim.
That's right. If he's an atheist, there's no way he can be a Muslim, right? But okay.
Right.
And actually, a lot of people on the left, I say he's an atheist. That doesn't bother them. They like it. They like the fact that he's an atheist because guess what? They're atheists too.
All the people on the left? Oh, I don't think so.
Not all the people on the
Liberals.
left. A handful of people on the left. Right.
A handful, yeah. Not a majority. You have liberals Christians and you have conservative Christians. It's just that the only difference between liberal and conservative is the views on the way they view how the government should do stuff. How the government should run the country and stuff. In the states and the local governments, I guess.
But the Republicans have pretty much become they're the stronger party for representing Christians, wouldn't you say?
Well, yes, because they've used it as their platform a lot of times. And by the liberals not using it at all, then it makes them look, people get the idea they're atheists or something because they never say much about Christianity in their platform, I think. They don't use it as strong of a message.
But did you notice when George Bush came into power, he passed that, he started that program where you can now get funding for your church charities can get government funding now. Do you remember that?
Yes. I don't see nothing wrong with it as long as it's doing it legitimately, doing it right.
I don't personally have a problem with it. But what I'm getting at is that program was a reward for voting for him. He's telling the Christian organizations, support me.
But then he's bribed.
I'll give you money. Do you agree that that's
He's
part
bribing
of?
the voter. If he says it that way, I think he's bribing the voters. He shouldn't say it that way.
He shouldn't say it that way. But I think, and I don't actually think he's bribing anyone. But that's how I think politics works. Those sectors, those institutions that support you, you reward them as best as you can. You make things legally easier for them by changing the laws. If there is government funding available, you try to make that available for them. You reward those parts of the society that helped you get elected. I mean, that's just politics, isn't it?
We have to, or otherwise they won't help you anymore.
Well,
they won't do it next time around. You got to keep going. You got to keep adding the pockets or letting people that you want to help you win, keep helping them. Yeah. Itch my back out. What quid pro quo type thing.
I know it seems like they're doing something bad, and I think in U.S. politics there is a kind of they don't like these relationships between politicians and religions. That's historically a problem in U.S. politics, but I don't know about other countries it's really seen as such a bad thing.
Well, what gets me is the U.S. government doesn't like Iran, basically for the fact that their religion is in control of the government, and that yet over here the Republicans want everybody to be Christians. So what's the difference? They want to control the government through Christianity. Then the Republicans don't think. Doesn't say I don't see the difference. It's the same thing.
Well, the Republicans want to say that if you're a Christian, we're the party that's going to best represent your point of view. That's what they're trying to say. So I wanted to just establish. Yeah, I just wanted to establish that, even though there's a lot of Christians who are Democrats, there's a lot of Christians who have a lot of left-wing points of view, but generally speaking, when it comes to an actual political issue, when religion is political, it tends to be a Republican-dominated issue. That's just my observations of U.S. politics. Mm-hmm. It's somewhat like that in Canada, but not as strong, because you can't a politician can't pass a bill up here on a religious platform as easily. Every once in a while you see a little bit of it, but I don't see it as strongly tied together. And it would of course be conservatives, but it's not as strong of a tie. Okay, so what was the question? I've already lost track. Jim, what were we talking about there?
Well, the religion. I guess when we got into Bush, it kind of. Oh, is Obama an atheist? Is that the deal?
Is Obama an atheist? Okay, I forgot to give my actual. You want my actual evidence now?
And you said he was.
I need to give evidence.
Okay, yeah, great.
Okay. What's that rag called, that left-wing newspaper? Huffington Post. Huffington Post. Huffington in 2008. In 2008, you probably know the story, but I'm just saying it for anyone who doesn't know, who might be watching us. We probably have our 2 or 3 viewers at this point. But
no, I don't see anybody.
It says 1 viewer on mine. It's probably myself.
That's me.
I'm probably viewing myself.
You and me.
Even together, we don't even count as a viewer. Okay, so here's my evidence that Obama is an atheist. In 2008, Huffington Post was following him around, and just when he went to his fundraisers or whatever, they were there, just taking notes and that sort of thing. Okay. So one day he's in San Francisco, of all places, San Francisco, right? Like, you can't make this stuff up. He's talking to his sort of elitist, I call them elitist supporters, the rich San Francisco supporters. And I don't know, I paint a stereotype of all these kind of guru business owners. They shop at Whole Foods and drink Starbucks coffee. I don't know. This is my sort of stereotype of all these people that are in the room. And what he says is, so right in that, I don't know if you remember this, but he was actually up against Biden and Hillary Clinton in that election. Okay. And they were coming and they were going through the local races, and they were battling for Pennsylvania, which is Biden's home state. Biden's home state. Obama actually had he had a hard time in Pennsylvania, let's just put it that way. So Obama says to his donors in San Francisco, these are people who bitterly cling to their guns and religion. That's what he said. Something like that. You remember what I'm talking about, Jim?
Yeah. Well, he was talking about the extreme right-wingers.
But this is a Democrat primary. This is
They weigh the
Democrat.
Bible.
This is Democrat primary.
Oh, he
This
wasn't
is-
talking about the Republican?
He was talking about Democrats in Pennsylvania and probably Ohio because
Oh.
he's talking about the so-called Reagan Democrats. I guess I'm guessing. I don't actually know
I
who
thought
he's
he was
talking about. But these I don't
I
know.
think he was
working-
talking about Republican. I can look it up and find out.
Well, it was the Democrat primary, but that's a legit question. That's a legit question.
I remember that quote. They cling to their Bibles and what?
cling
They
to
cling to
their-
their Bibles and guns or something?
They're bitter. They're bitter people clinging to religion and guns. Clinging to religion and guns,
Yeah.
and they're bitter. That's what he said.
Cling.
So what I'm saying is,
I remember the
no matter who he's talking about, whether it's
people
Democrats,
took that as being a...
well, I took that as, oh, Obama's an atheist. When I saw him say that, when I heard that quote, I
saying
said,
that's something that...
I said,
Yeah, that's
Obama,
because that's kind of... He sounds like... Bitter people clinging to Bibles, it doesn't sound like he likes the Bible very much.
So anyway, Huffington Post actually made a recording of what he said, and they actually were the ones to post the. They were the ones who made the recording public, and it was during this Democrat primary.
Wow.
It was during the Democrat primary, and Huffington Post recorded Obama saying that, and they made it public. So a left-wing newspaper.
So they wanted Hillary to win? Sounds like they wanted Hillary to win.
Well,
They were trying to get rid of a...
when they reacted
making Obama look bad.
when they reacted to questions about it, they said that they were just trying to be a good newspaper telling the truth. But who knows? Maybe they were voting for maybe they were trying to help Hillary. I don't know. Maybe they're trying to help Joe Biden. I don't know. Those were the kind of the people.
Yeah, well,
Obama was,
it's got to be helping. You report something like that, it's going to be helping somebody else, because it definitely is not helping Obama when you say that, I guess.
well, and also this is Obama talking to people. It's just like,
Him-
do you remember Mitt Romney said the 47% comment? 47%.
Yes.
And it was a big embarrassment. It was because he was talking to people behind closed doors, and someone made a recording of it. So this was Obama's sort
He
of.
said that's
equivalent.
Hillary's.
Well,
That's
he's
why you
talking
should
to
never
people.
anything behind closed that you don't want to hear.
Oh, you should always assume there's a camera. You should always assume there's a camera.
Yeah, I would.
Especially in
Always
this
assume
day.
everything.
So otherwise,
Now in this day and age, yeah, you could put the tiniest thing under your hat or under your inside your pocket, and they won't even know it. You got everything on tape and everything.
so the bottom line is this: Obama put down gun owners and religious people. Okay, I can understand the gun owners. I'm with him there. I think owning guns is pretty silly. But what about the religious people? He's putting them down. Doesn't that make him an
Yeah.
atheist? This
If
is
he
what
does,
he
yeah, sort of.
This is what he said to his rich donors behind closed doors. This is the group he was talking to. So he assumed privacy. He assumed he had a sense of privacy with them, and it turned out
Wouldn't he
didn't.
assume that there's... How many atheists did he think were in that crowd of donors?
Well,
Do you
I
think
don't know.
they couldn't have all been atheists.
Well, this is
Does he
what I
screen them
find
out?
funny. This is what I find funny is he must have assumed his audience were mostly atheists. So that is an odd thing, don't you think?
Yes, it would be. And if they weren't, he had to have offended a lot of them.
And I don't think he
Yet
did.
he won.
I don't think he did offend them. He obviously was getting lots of money. I don't know
Yeah.
if you remember, Obama out fundraised both McCain and Mitt Romney. In fact, you know Mitt Romney's campaign actually went broke during the election, which showed it kind of showed. Well, I thought this guy. I think a lot of people thought, isn't this guy supposed to know how to manage money, right? He had his campaign.
I thought all the Republicans aren't the Republicans supposed to be rich? The Republicans are supposed to be for all the rich people, so you'd think that he would have a lot more money.
And also, Mitt Romney
Obama.
Mitt Romney's personally rich. He's also personally rich,
Yeah.
so it was
And
interesting.
I think he used a lot of his own.
it was interesting to see his campaign start to run out of money. You know,
Yeah, that was very strange, I thought.
so
I think some of the rich pulled out. I think the rich people pulled out, a lot of donors. When they seen it looked like he was going to lose.
yeah, I think a lot of people just he didn't have a
Nobody
super
wants to back
strong.
a loser.
Yeah, right. But I think he just had
Yeah.
lost out on. There was some missing support
When I
there.
saw him talk, when he talked, he was like a robot. You know, he's very robotic in his way. You know, he had all these. He just sounded like a machine. You could just flick a switch behind his back. He had a little on-off switch or something.
Okay, I don't want to
Very,
talk too
no
much.
motion in him.
I don't want to. I don't want to beat up on Mitt Romney too much because he's such an easy target. But you want to know why I don't like Mitt Romney?
Why?
Because he put his dog on the roof of his car. Went on a family trip with his dog. On the
That
roof.
was one of my.
That's it for
I
me.
remember
right
that
there.
too. And I thought that was crazy. If that's true, he's a dog. What do you call it? He's a dog abuser. Or something.
He did. But if you see,
What sane person would put a dog on a roof?
but do you know how that
What was his
story?
excuse? The dog likes it.
He said the dog was happy up there. But you know how that
Yeah.
story
You couldn't
became
see the dog
famous?
up there.
You know how that story became famous?
Oh,
When he was running for
I don't remember. It was in
when
some
he was
small
running
article.
for when he was running for governor in Massachusetts.
Governor.
Right.
Yeah.
He and his family used that as a story to try to get laughs and stuff. They thought it was funny. They told it as a funny anecdote about the
Oh,
family.
God.
They said, "Here's a family trip that was so funny," and so all the recordings are all the members of the family telling the story. So when what's his name?
Oh, God.
What's his name? Who's the guy with the white hair? And he was the Republican in the primaries. He's got a PhD in history. I know that, and uh, he was one of the candidates for the in the Republican primary. He's the one who started started talking about the dog on the roof in the Republican primary.
So you want
He was
wasn't McCain, huh?
not McCain. No, we're talking about 2012. 212.
2012. Oh,
It was so Romney was the front runner in the Republican primary, and the other guys are trying to bash him now, and it's getting personal. It's getting personal. So they brought up the story. It was Republicans in the primary that brought up the story about the dog.
oh.
But the
Try to
dog
get him out of the race.
to try to take
Yeah, they're
his vote.
stabbing each other. Isn't that funny how during
Well,
a primary, all the
Democrats did the same thing in their primary,
yeah,
but
they all want to stab each other in the back.
I guess it's a question of trying to find a balance, right? You need to be competitive without showing you're too much of an idiot. Right? So what was his name? He was in Congress during Clinton. He was in Congress during Clinton, and he was the leader, one of the leaders.
Yeah, there's
Anyway,
so
so
many of them.
in the campaign, he brought up the dog on the roof story against Mitt Romney, and I have to admit, for someone like me, it makes an impact to hear that the person abuses animals on top of everything else. It's like he doesn't. It made him, both Obama and the Republicans that were up against Mitt Romney, they painted Romney as someone who's out of touch with average people's values. And I think they're pretty successful painting that picture.
Right.
If you-
But he was born rich. He was rich all his life. I mean, I guess his dad was the governor of Michigan. I guess that's not real rich, but wasn't fluent. He was born under some certain power, and he was able to get a lot richer probably than his dad.
But wasn't his dad also a leader of one of the auto companies? Or was that Mitt? No, that's his dad.
He was dad was CEO of American Motors, AMC.
American Motors, right? Yeah.
They went out of business like, I don't know, mid 70s or something.
Well, I remember
That was the first auto company to go out.
you know Renault, right? The French company, the Renault, whatever. They
Yeah.
had some kind of merger with American Motors. I can't remember the details. It's a long time. Newt
Yeah.
Gingrich. Newt Gingrich. Pleb is watching us. Newt Gingrich. Thanks, Plebusen. Is that how I say the name? Well, of course, when we're at home and we're just typing, I don't know how to pronounce anything. But I'm assuming that Plebusen has some kind of Swedish pronunciation. But anyway, Newt Gingrich. Newt Gingrich is the one. He brought up. He
Newt Ging-
stabbed. He had the. He had the dagger nice and long for Mitt Romney's back when it came to that Republican primary, because he brought up the story of the dog on the roof of the car. But you know what? I thank him for it. I thank him for that story. So I'm watching channel 39. So if Pleb types something in there, I can respond to it too.
Yeah, I see it there. I see that channel too.
Okay, so are you convinced, Jim? Are you convinced that Obama's an atheist? Are you convinced?
Well, not totally yet.
Okay. He could have just.
He's had a really short choice of poor choice of words.
Let me just say that it's the only evidence
like
I've got. I've only got one evidence, one example, but I thought it was pretty strong. But let me say something in Obama's defense. Person could be on a campaign, right? And the group that's making it hard for him could be a religious group.
Mm-hmm.
So he could just, in a moment of anger, say something about religious people, and it's just because of how they're treating him in that moment. And it's possible that he just said something like out of anger, and he doesn't really mean it. But you know something? Even though that's a possible explanation, I think he's just an atheist, and he doesn't actually believe in any of that stuff. Because no one says religious people are bitter if they don't think there's something wrong with religious people, right? So I think he's an atheist.
Couldn't it mean that he meant certain religious people were bitter, not all of them? Maybe he was talking about a very small percentage of religious people that are bitter. Well, I want to hang on to their guns and their.
I accept that possibility.
There are a few out there.
I accept that possibility.
But he didn't word. That's what I said. He should have worded it more. He should have said there are a few people that are bitter. You know, there are some people out there. They cling to their Bibles. He should have said that all. If these all religious people cling to their Bibles, yeah, then he's making it really bad for himself there. But I think another Christian could actually say that a different Christian is not doing his job right and say that he's bitter and he's clinging to his Bible. It's not beyond realm of possibility. So I don't know. Like you said, it's just he might have misinterpreted what he said. Forgot to add a few words in there. Didn't say it quite right. I don't know. You know, like you said, when they get so emotional, you forget how to word certain things right. You say it in such a way as it sounds like you're talking about everybody. You didn't mean everybody.
Well, I notice in U.S. politics that comments made out of emotion often cost people votes, like the Dean scream, right? The Dean scream. The Dean. You remember Howard Dean?
Yes, Howard Dean. That scream. I didn't think that scream was so bad. All he did was scream, but it made him look like some kind of crazy man, I guess. So that killed him. After he did that scream, he was over.
But the truth is, someone made a rap song out of that speech that night, and I thought it was pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Because they had the scream as part of the song samples, right? I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
It made. And
he was really in the song.
Well, Dean is just like a kind of aggressive guy, but I guess he's small or something. I don't know. But
he reminds me of the Glenn Beck.
Yeah, right. Dean reminds you of Glenn Beck or somebody else?
On the opposite side, yeah.
Oh, the opposite
like you
side.
Said, he'll say a little bit wild stuff that he really shouldn't say, but he says it.
But you know, Howard Dean organized was it the Senate campaign or something for the next election, and he did really well. He He was the coordinator. He was the central coordinator guy. He coordinated the whole campaign, and he actually did really well. He got a lot of votes. He did a quote-unquote
Who was it
national
he was
campaign.
running?
Well, he coordinated the
For
whole.
Obama?
I believe it was the whole Senate campaign. He was the coordinator. It was maybe it was, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Senate, the Democrat Senate. He was in charge of the whole Senate, the U.S. Senate. He coordinated their federal campaign of all the senators, and so even in states where what he did is even in states.
Democratic.
Yeah, even in states where Democrats didn't really have a shot, he still spent some money. What he did is he spent money in every single one. Now, I think it was Senate. I can't remember for sure if it was Senate, but I think it was Senate. So what else is going on that you find interesting? Are you following Syria at all?
A little. I want to just make one more observation, then probably I'll call it an end.
Okay.
Because I got a lot of correspondence games to do, be caught up on. But actually, what do you think about the Virginia? A lot of Republicans have lost a bunch of elections lately, and they just had an election Tuesday, somewhere in I think it was this month. There was a governor that lost, senator that lost. There was at least big Republicans that lost. Have you read about that?
I read about the previous.
For some reason, they were all losing.
Yeah, I do have an opinion on that. When
there was something to do with the Christie backlash.
Well, when Republicans did this shutdown, you know what I'm talking about, the shutdown.
Right. Yeah. Save money.
They pissed off a lot of people, including some wealthy people, and even the Chamber of Commerce is saying they're pulling funding out of any Tea Party candidate. That's how angry they were, and I think Republicans just shot themselves in the foot, and they lost was it Virginia? They lost the governor directly related to the campaign. All the talking points in the campaign were all about the shutdown, and they just got killed in that election. So I think the Republican caught up, but we're talking about a state that went like was it 10 elections in a row? Republican 10 elections in a row, and this brought that tradition to an end.
Completely the opposite way. Really did. So. Well, I think it had a lot to do with Christie and Huckabee just recently, you know. And it's like the election was like a few days after all this stuff, and it just they just made a lot of people upset over it. They lost a lot of women. Huckabee's losing women like mad.
You know some
comments, but
that
he says
they're a party.
But he had to go on this campaign of.
You could almost take the tagline "out of touch," and that could become their tagline. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, Jim. In the 2012 election, so we're going all the way back to 2012. Why did 73% of Asians vote for Obama? Okay, we're talking business owners, people with money. Why did they vote for Obama? It doesn't even make sense, except they fucking hate Republicans.
The only thing I can see is Obama is a minority because he's black, and maybe they recognize him because they are a minority. Asians they're a minority in this country, so maybe they identify with the minority in this.
They are Democrat supporters. In the United States, most Asians are Democrats. Because despite not having anything in common.
It doesn't make sense, though.
It doesn't make sense.
Because Asians are very hard-working people. Because they act like Republicans because they work their butts off.
So what are you saying, lazy people vote for
What
are you saying, lazy people vote for the left?
Yeah, all the people on welfare vote for the Democrats.
I just wanted to get that on record.
That's why they're...
Just don't forget this recording.
Well, because... Well, that's okay. Well, the Democrats support, you know, Medicare, all that stuff. Welfare. They seem to help. They want to help her. They want to help the poor, so the poor are going to vote Democrat.
I think the American term is entitlement.
That only makes sense.
The American term for it is entitlement. That's a term I don't even understand. But in the U.S., even Democrats.
Why? They're entitled. They're not entitled to free stuff. They're not entitled. They're only entitled if they qualify for it. Otherwise, if they don't qualify, to me, they're not entitled. If you really want to know the truth. I think people have twisted it. They think entitlements is for anybody. I don't think it is. It's potentially for everybody. If you fall into the qualifications, then you can be entitled to it.
Okay, Jim, so I want to thank you for joining me. I wanted to test out Google Hangout, see how to work it.
Well, at least we got it, yes. We got it to work. Now next time we try to get about 50 people to watch us or something. Add to the chat, or we get. I'd like to get one of those Google Hangouts where you can get 10 people all together talking at once.
Sure,
as long as we control it.
We got to get, what's his name? We got to get Ratty Mouse on here.
Ratty Mouse? Oh, that would be very interesting.
I don't know if I can handle it. But
very, very interesting. And CPOT? I want CPOT on.
Oh, yeah. You want to put the crazy...
But I don't know if CPOT would be long enough. So.
You want to put the craziest people we know on TV.
You would talk the whole thing. Yeah.
Okay, so...
I just want to see what they look like and how they talk in real life.
Do you think they'll have the skills to set this up, to set up a Google Plus account? I don't know if they'll be able to do that. But anyway, because it is a little...
No, probably not.
There's a lack of user-friendliness in Google. I wonder if they'll build...
I'm surprised. I'm amazed I can do it. I'm not really a computer person myself.
Well, you got some technical skills, a little anyway.
You think Cleveson?
He was a little shy. We'll see in the future if he would join us. If there's 10 people, he can hide. He can hide in the background.
Yeah, you don't have to talk. You can just watch everybody. No, I'm not saying anybody has to contribute, but if you're all sitting there, I can see other faces and how they react. But, you know, and then if they want to put 2 cents in, they can. All right. Well, I guess we'll call this the end of this meeting.
Yeah. Okay, Jim. So thanks for joining me, and
it was nice talking, though. It was.
And we'll try it again.
You know a lot about American politics. I know that. You're very knowledgeable. Okay.
Okay. We'll talk to you later.
We'll catch you later.
Bye.